Okay, this is a little interview that I did with John Hawkins of Right Wing News. He's interested in women in blogging, specifically whether women are subjected to vitriolic abuse or unfair treatment as bloggers, mostly political bloggers. And there's a little discussion at the beginning about being a woman law professor blogger, and at the end there's a little discussion about whether women are using their looks in blogging. And I'm putting this little preface on the interview because you'll only hear me, you won't hear him. So you'll have to imagine the questions. I think you can tell from the context what I'm talking about, but I've already tipped you off. We talk about women law professor, being a law professor and blogging. The heart of it is whether women are treated unfairly in blogging, and at the very end there's a discussion of whether women are using their looks. Hi, John. Pretty good. How are you? Well, I'm 57 years old, and I'm a law professor. Did you know all this? Okay, so I've been at the University of Wisconsin Law School since 1984. It's helpful to be a law professor. It gives you a certain amount of visibility in the first place, a certain amount of credibility, and then there's a tendency, I think, to link. There's also a tendency of law professors to be jealous of each other and to think they're better than you, or of people who aren't law professors to be sort of irritated that you have whatever stature you have because of that. So this is good and bad. People want to knock you down, and as well they should if you're a law professor. But I think there's a problem with being a woman is that you have a greater stake for maybe emotional reasons, or you tend to, not everyone, that you want people to like you, or you think that it's important to remain likable, and that's like fighting with one hand behind your back. And so if you don't develop a thick skin, if you don't take some risks and put up with people attacking you, there's a limit to what you can do. Now, I think that a lot of the male bloggers know that about women, and because of that, they think they can get you to leave. And they have actually gotten various women to leave. And you can tell, I could tell when I was first getting noticed, that there were people who I think, whether they consciously thought it or not, but thought they could make me just get out, that they would make it so rough of a place that you would, close up and go home, as certain people have done. And I just realized, well, I loved blogging so much I wasn't going to let them do that. But I sort of got a sense that they were really doing that, whether they were intentionally doing it or not. This idea that, maybe this is a man's world and we can have all the stature within this world. Because everybody wants their spot. You can make all the women go away, unlike in other areas of work where, they want to keep women in part of the group, and you'll get in trouble if you harass the women and try to drive them out. I think in the blogosphere, it's sort of like the Wild West, and you actually can try to push other people out, and it's easy to push women out. There's a way of trying to get women to leave, and because it's a rough world where people are trying to climb to the top, they'll use whatever techniques they can. And so I think that makes you vulnerable as a woman, but you don't have to be. And I think that there's a positive side of it too that you can use. And I think you get attention just for being a woman because it's less common. I don't know if they're nastier. I think they're different. I think people are animals. They have sexual feelings. They react to men and women differently. And it affects, there's just a whole emotional level to what we're doing that you can pretend isn't there, but it really is there. You can pretend, for example, in the election, that how we react to Hillary doesn't have anything to do with sex. But it does. Obviously, feelings that you had about your mother, feelings you have about women you would like to have sex with, or women you want to marginalize, and older women and younger women, all of that stuff is going to be part of however you try to fight your enemies and help your friends. So whether it's more vicious or not, I don't know. I think sometimes women will use the fact that you've attacked a woman to push you back. If you try to get into a fight with a woman and Hillary did that, didn't she? It's like, oh, you're fighting, oh, they're all attacked, the men are all attacking me. And that works sometimes, and women will use that. So people use what they can. And then one of the weapons that women have is to claim that the attacks on women are more vitriolic, or that they're sexual, or that people are stalking them. And sometimes they are, but, bad things happen to men too. think a lot of women are afraid to put themselves out there and expose themselves. Women tend to write more than men. I think just among women who engage in various kinds of writing or who are more verbally oriented, women tend to excel there. But I think blogging may be a little bit more competitive. I think there's an angle to blogging that is sort of like a game or a sport. Like you try to score by getting a high traffic count, and you try to get it higher and higher, and things like that might be appealing to people who are competitive. Or women might be afraid to, maybe either don't want to be so competitive, feel worse if people are fighting or hating them, and also just maybe don't want to expose how competitive they are, don't want to compete in an arena like that because it's just not set up in a way maybe to make them feel good or look good. You know, I think maybe it's easier for a man to feel comfortable in that setting, but it's very rewarding to do it as a woman. So I think more women should do it. And it may also just be that there may be more women bloggers, just not more women political bloggers. It may not be blogging per se, but political blogging that's male. Well, it's a complicated situation because I play with blogging. I deliberately do some things that are comic, or I allow this character to. I mean, I don't think I'm being ungenuine, but I allow myself to be exposed in a certain kind of a way that has to do with my sense of humor and with the fact that I think of blogging as being kind of an art form. And I'm not just, a nose to the grindstone sort of political blogger always presenting a political point of view. I'm doing something different. And because of that, people are going to, and because I'm also a law professor, so that makes some people think, why aren't you serious and academic all the time? That exposes me to a particular sort of attack. So I don't want to say that I think it's unfair. I kind of just think people don't really understand what I do, but that's the whole thing that I'm trying to do. So if it gets me attention, I'm sort of surprised they pay any attention to me at all. So it's kind of my formula. It's kind of, I mean, which is I just express myself. I do just exactly what I want to do and I love to do. And I'm just thrilled that I have as many readers as I do and get as much attention as I do. So I think it's, on the whole, incredibly fair, beyond fair. Yeah, yeah. I think I get at least my share. I'd like more, but I think I get, I think I get a big share. I'm surprised how much traffic I get, and because I'm not trying to position myself to get more traffic, and I don't do things to try to get more traffic. I just do exactly what I want, and the fact that it's worked out so well is sort of miraculous to me. So I don't feel I'm being cheated, other than I wish I had started blogging, or blogging was around to do 20 years ago. I would have loved that, but I think currently I'm being treated pretty fairly, yeah. Absolutely, sure, of course. People use whatever they can, and the women that look good or that can make themselves look good or who have bodies that are attractive, they'll look at the pictures, the way the pictures are framed, look at the way people vlog and what camera angle they put it at, and where they, are they just showing their face or are they showing the chest in the picture? I mean, people are deciding how much to show or not show. Hey, it ends a little abruptly, sorry. But you see my point. I mean, I think that women put up their picture to try to get ahead in the blogosphere. They do if it works, and they don't if it doesn't work. People do what works, and women do it too. And the one thing I said in another part of the interview, and it's left out, but I think women will get offended if you point out that you see what they're doing. They don't want to be told. It's rude to say it. It's rude to say, I can see what you're doing. I think you're using your appearance. I think you're using your body to try to get extra credit. It's considered rude to say that. So if you do it, I think it's good to say a few rude things in blogging. I think that makes for good blogging. But of course, the people you've been rude to are going to be very pissed off.